Awaking in the middle of a prodigiously tough snore, and sitting up in bed to get his thoughts together, the bell was again upon the stroke of 1. Scrooge felt that he was restored to consciousness in the right nick of time, for the especial purpose of holding a conference with the second messenger dispatched to him through Jacob Marley's intervention. Being prepared for almost anything, he was not by any means prepared for nothing. 5 minutes? 10 minutes? A quarter of an hour went by, yet nothing came. But all this time, as he lay upon his bed, a blaze of ruddy light streamed upon him, and he was powerless to make out what it meant. At last the source and secret of this ghostly light approached him from the adjoining room.
"Get up! Get up and know me better!"
Scrooge looked up. It was his own room, there was no doubt about that, but it had undergone a surprising transformation. The walls and the ceilings were hung with crisp leaves of holly, mistletoe, and ivy reflected back by a glistening light. Scrooge stood timidly, and hung his head before this spirit, and though the spirit's eyes were clear and kind, he did not like to meet them.
"I am the ghost of Christmas present. Look upon me. You have never seen the like of me before."
"Never. Spirit, conduct me where you will. I went forth last night on compulsion, and learnt a lesson which is working now. Tonight, if you have aught to teach me, let me profit by it."
"Touch my robe."
Scrooge did as he was told, and held it fast. They stood in the streets on Christmas morning. The sky was gloomy, and the streets were choked with a dingy mist. There was nothing very cheerful in the climate or the town, and yet there was an air of cheerfulness. The steeples called good people all to church and chapel, and away they came, flocking through the streets in their best clothes and with their gayest faces. Scrooge and the ghost went on into the suburbs of the town and straight to Scrooge's clerk's house. Mrs. Cratchit, Bob Cratchit's wife, was laying the table, assisted by Belinda Cratchit, second of her daughters, and Master Peter Cratchit. And now 3 smaller Cratchits came tearing in and danced about the table.
"What has ever got your precious father and your brother, Tiny Tim? And Martha weren't as late as this last Christmas Day by half an hour. Here's Martha, mother. Why, bless my heart alive, my dear, how late you are. We had a deal of work to finish up last night, and had to clear away this morning, mother."
She sounds like a very hard-working young girl.
"She has to be."
"Well, never mind, so long as you come. Sit down, my dear, and warm yourself." "No, no, father's coming." "Hide, Martha, hide."
In came Bob Cratchit, and Tiny Tim upon his shoulder. Alas for Tiny Tim! He bore a little crutch, and had his limbs supported by an iron frame. "Why, where's our Martha?"
"Not coming." "Not coming? Not coming upon Christmas Day?"
Martha didn't like to see him disappointed, if it were only in joke, so she came out prematurely from behind the closet door and ran into his arms, while the 2 young Cratchits hustled Tiny Tim and bore him off to the wash-house that he might hear the pudding singing in the copper.
"And how did Tiny Tim behave?"
"As good as gold, and better. Somehow he gets thoughtful, sitting by himself so much, and thinks the strangest things you've ever heard. He told me, coming home, that he hoped the people saw him in the church, because he was a cripple, and it might be pleasant for them to remember upon Christmas Day, who made lame beggars walk, and blind men see." Bob's voice was tremulous when he told them this, and trembled more when he said that Tiny Tim was growing strong and hearty. Such a bustle ensued, and at last the table was set, and grace was said. For what we are about to receive, may the Lord make us truly thankful. Amen. There was never such a goose. Bob said he didn't believe there was ever such a goose cooked, and what a wonderful pudding.
"Nothing wrong with that pudding, except it's too small for such a large family."
Nobody complains.
Any Cratchit would blush to even hint at such a thing.
A Merry Christmas to us all, my dears. God bless us, which all the family re-echoed.
"God bless us, everyone,"
said Tiny Tim, the last of all.
Spirit, tell me if Tiny Tim will live.
"I see a vacant seat, and a crutch without an owner, carefully preserved. If these shadows remain unaltered by the future, the child will die."
Oh, no, kind spirits, say he will be spared."
If these shadows remain unaltered by the future, none will find him here. What then? If he be like to die, he had better do it and decrease the surplus population. Man, if man you be in heart, forbear that wicked cant until you have discovered what the surplus is, and where it is. Will you decide what men shall live, what men shall die? It may be that in the sight of heaven you are more worthless and less fit to live than millions like this poor man's child.
A toast, children. I give you Mr. Scrooge, the founder of the feast. The founder of the feast, indeed. I wish I had him here. I'd give him a piece of my mind to feast upon, and I'd hope he'd have a good appetite for it. My dear, the children, Christmas Day. It should be Christmas Day, I am sure, on which one drinks the health of such an odious, stingy, hard, unfeeling man as Mr. Scrooge. You know he is, Robert. Nobody knows it better than you, poor fellow. My dear, Christmas Day. I'll drink his health for your sake, and the day's, not for his. A long life to him, a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. He'll be very merry and very happy, I have no doubt. A long life to him, a Merry Christmas to Mr. Scrooge. By this time it was getting dark, and snowing pretty heavily, and without a word of warning from the ghost, they stood upon a bleak and desert moor.
What place is this?
A place where miners live, who labour in the bowels of the earth.
A light shone from the window of a hut, where they found an old man and woman, with their children, and their children's children, and another generation beyond that, all decked out gaily in their holiday attire, singing Christmas songs. The spirit did not tarry here, but bade Scrooge hold his robe, and passing on above the moor, sped to the sea. Upon a dismal reef of sunken rocks, some league or so from shore, even here, two men join in wishing each other a Merry Christmas. Again the ghost sped on, above the black and heaving sea, on, until, being far away, it was a great surprise for Scrooge to see his own nephew, and find himself in a bright, dry, gleaming room, with the spirit standing smiling by his side.
He said that Christmas was a humbug, as I live.
It seems the less Uncle Scrooge knows, the more stubbornly he knows it.
The narrower a man's mind, the broader his statements.
Do you think he believes it, that Christmas is a humbug? He believes it. More shame on him, Fred. My uncle's a comical old fellow, that's the truth, and not so pleasant as he might be. You're so easy-going, Fred. But why don't you say anything against Uncle Scrooge after the way he's treated you? Why won't you, Fred? Because I think his offences carry his own punishment.
I am sure he's very rich. At least, I've always been told so.
What of that? His wealth is of no use to him. I have no patience with him.
Well, Mr. Scrooge has certainly very few friends.
He's the most uncivil man I've ever met. He never says good morning, or good evening, or Merry Christmas. Poor devil. Couldn't be angry with him if I tried. Who suffers by his ill whims? Himself, always. Here, he takes it into his head to dislike us, and he won't come and dine with us. What's the consequence? I think he loses a very good dinner. Indeed, he loses some pleasant moments, which could do him no harm. I am sure he loses pleasanter companions than he can find in his own thoughts, in his dreary office or rooms. And I mean to keep the door of happiness open, and give him the same chance to slip in every year, whether he likes it or not.
I don't understand why you defend Mr. Scrooge.
It's because his mother loved Scrooge so much when they were children. And if my mother loves someone, then he must have a good heart in him, just as she did. She gave that heart to you, my dear.
They're talking about your little sister, Fan, aren't they?
Yes, they are. I sometimes forget that Fred is Fan's child.
You shouldn't.
A Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to the old man, wherever he is. He wouldn't take it from me, but may he have it nevertheless. Uncle Scrooge!
You should have accepted Fred's invitation to dine.
What?
For Fan's sake.
I should.
Now we must go. We still have much to do.
Scrooge and the spirit were again upon their travels. Much they saw, and far they went, and many homes they visited, but always with a happy end. The spirit stood beside sick beds, and they were cheerful. On foreign lands, and they were close at home. By struggling men, and they were patient in their greater hope. by poverty, and it was rich. In almshouse, hospital, and jail, in misery's every refuge he left his blessing, and taught Scrooge his precepts. It was a long night.
Are spirits' lives so short?
My life upon this globe is very brief. It ends tonight.
Tonight?
Tonight at midnight. Hark, the time is drawing near.
Forgive me, but I see something strange and not belonging to yourself protruding from your robe.
Look here. Look down here.
Spirit, are they yours?
They are man's. This boy is ignorance, this girl is want. Beware them both, but most of all beware this boy, for on his brow I see that written which is doom, unless the writing be erased. If you deny him, slander those who tell others about him, admit he exists and do nothing about it, then doom will engulf you all.
Are there no shelters, no charities to help them?
Are there no prisons? Are there no workhouses?
The bell struck 12. Scrooge looked about him for the ghost, and saw it not. As the last stroke ceased to vibrate, he remembered the prediction of old Jacob Marley, and lifting up his eyes, beheld a solemn phantom, draped and hooded, coming like a mist along the ground towards him.